Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you and peace out to the rest of you. Look, um, first I'm going to give a shout out to Mahdi Tijani. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Mahdi reminded me of something that I wanted to record about and upload and forgot. And that is that we have to filter what a lot of people are saying. See, the red pill awareness is generally one awareness, but the conclusions are going to be different. And if you are in the audience and you are a practicing Christian or a practicing Jew or a practicing Muslim, fornication's out the window for you. Concubines aren't, but fornication is out of the window. And someone say, well, I'm Christian, we don't have concubines. Maybe you shouldn't. I mean, I'm not sure, but what I can say is that King Ferdinand had concubines. He had them. So a lot of kings that claimed Christ later on still had them. So in any case, let me go further on and talk some more about what y'all need to know. Here's the deal, y'all. When I tell you guys about this male chastity, understand this. There are people that want to link this red pill awareness to the alphabetic orientations. I don't. I'm talking to you about male chastity, in which either you simply abstain because you ain't married and you ain't got no concubines, and in this day and age, no one's got a concubine, or you practice marriage or concubinage, if concubinage ever becomes legal again and there's a way into it. I'm promoting these and that's it. But others are going to turn around and they're going to try to associate this message with deviant forms of satisfying oneself below the belt. They're going to try to associate that. This is why it is that I actually did not want Mr. Samuels to attract too much attention while he was willing to go on the platform of Nicki Minaj. I didn't want him to attract entirely too much attention. It was actually best because that this be short and not sensational. She tried to sensationalize it, and I answered her talking about some eat a dingling. No, you can afford your pookie, and that's fine if you can afford them, and you're not. And to her credit, she's not asking anybody else to step up and help her afford her pookie. I shouldn't even call him a pookie, but you know, her idness. A below the belt offender at that. No, I get it. But what she's pretty much still saying to men is, men who know what we're up to and have found out about these games and are talking about it, go D to ick, because you're supposed to fuck the shuck up and let us play these games. That's pretty much what she's saying. And that's why I'm looking at her like, see, you still are full of it. And see, she knew. She was trying, but he didn't take the bait. So could he have been more harsh? What I think he should have done is probably let her have it, but bring her onto his platform. And then just let it rip. And here's why. See, when he was thought to have been hostile, even when he wasn't, it went mainstream. When he was civil on her platform, it didn't completely. And that's good, because right now there are people waiting to align this message with booty banditry. And they've already started the rumor about him long time ago. Rumors been around about him. And they're going to bring him up again. If this goes mainstream through him, absolutely they're going to bring it up again. And they're going to be men that are in the red pill spaces. And some of them do believe in smashing and dashing, hitting and quitting. Some even believe in conceiving and leaving. Most don't believe in that, though. We Muslims don't support that. Neither do the Jews and the Christians amongst us. But they're going to understand that if some want this to go mainstream and some don't. If you want it to go mainstream, make sure that you You get aggressive about putting it into mainstream places wherein that booty banditry is not associated with it. And not just because I'm a Muslim and I don't like that sort of thing, but also because, see, they're not going to be able to knock men off the square right now, the square of red pill awareness, because it's true. The things of which we're aware are truths. The conclusions to which we jump are different. But if they succeed in overlapping failure with women, which is normal for men actually, and red pill awareness with these alphabetic orientations, then many of us would step off the square because they would have then changed the square by overlapping it with another square. Then we'd step off for different reasons, because most of us are straight. That's just nature. The majority is straight. And we will be like, this is for somebody else. This is for someone of another orientation. We're not on that. And so we would step off because of the overlap, the lack of distinction. That's why. And this is part of why I've said that it is more important, actually, that we take this mainstream in other traditional countries, other countries that are traditional still. It's more important to take it mainstream there than it is to take it mainstream in the States. Because in the States, they always got something. Always. Be aggressive and proactive about taking this mainstream to the Philippines if that's your spot, Colombia if that's your spot, the DR if that's your spot, Malaysia if that's your spot, Indonesia if that's your spot. Be proactive, and here's why I say it. If you take this proactively over there and you let the men there know what's going on, the capital cities in which you can still find feminism will witness a rollback of the feminism, let alone the rural provinces and secondary cities. You see where I'm going with this? If it's in Nairobi, okay, you know what? Take it to Nairobi. Let the men know this is going on, and they start watching their sister's social media, their daughter's social media, even moms and aunts' social media, little cousin's social media. No, you ain't going to. I better not find out about a social media account that you had and I didn't know about it. Better not find out, because then what you hiding? Oh, you was on that feminism stuff. You pack your bags and fit the guck out this house and support yourself then. And see how hard it is. And if any man tries to marry you, I'm going to tell him why he shouldn't. No. You strong and independent, don't need no man. Or better yet, you know what? Give me that smartphone. Here's a dumb phone. The point is, they'll know what to do. That's what'll happen. They'll know what to do. But it is important that we know where to take it, because trying to make it go mainstream in the States don't mean nothing. They already got that sold up. There's a plan for that. If you got a counter plan, go ahead, proceed. If you don't try to make it mainstream. Now, Mata Tijani and I aren't always going to agree. I don't agree with holding men accountable for the way women act. Making it too easy, sure, but it's not like they weren't going to do it anyway in a situation in which legally they're protected for doing it. No. I don't believe that the West is a patriarchy. I believe that the West enjoys the benefits of the patriarchy without it actually being a patriarchy, because men are pretty much forced. I believe what Sandman told to Attorney Sperling, that when they take over politics, they're then going to utilize the laws. And if there are enough men in law enforcement who will do their jobs and will not go against those and violate those orders, then it's doomed. They will have men in uniform who can't find any other job, pointing guns at you and saying, no, you got to get back on that plantation or we have to pull the trigger. That's what they will be doing. It's a doggone shame, but that's exactly what the hell they'll be doing. They're going to make sure that you have to provide and not in an exchange. No fair robbery, no fair exchange. You give, they take. And if enough of them just find you irresistible enough, then they may give you some trim. Turn you into a breeder, and they'll support you at the expense of the other men. That's the only way women support a man. An adult man to whom they're not related, that's, it's not a son or a father, someone like that. They will support those men only at the expense of other men. So really, the fight is not about whether we're going to be mainstream in the States or not. The fight is how we're going to stop this from spreading. Because realize what the misandrists want, and I'm going to tie these two together, because you're wondering, what does the alphabet have to do with this thing going abroad in other countries? Well, stop and think. See, right now you got a goal. A lot of you like, well, I can work, save, stack, bounce. Okay, what happens when they succeed in turning every destination to which you will bounce into a mirror of the States and Canada and the UK? Then what? What happens when they succeed in ruining Malaysia? Not Kuala Lumpur, but Malaysia. Not Jakarta, but Indonesia. Not Bangkok, but Thailand. What happens when they succeed in ruining these areas? Oh. What happens when Colombia, even the rural provinces and departments are now misandrized? Then what? See, what they want is a situation in which you must be celibate or turn to the alphabet once you become red pill aware. They want that type of situation because you ain't gonna have nowhere to go. No destination where there still remains a fair exchange between husband and wife. They want to make sure that is all removed. That's what they seek to do. They do it in certain ways already. Some Scandinavian nation, I forgot which one it was, the women there complained to the government because the men were going to Thailand to get married and not marrying the local women. The local women were like, instead of saying we need to get rid of the feminism so that we can have our own men, they were like, we need to stop him from leaving. Something happened in the Gulf. I was told by some students from Saudi that a long time ago, Saudi men pretty much always went and married outside the country, because the Saudi women wanted dowries that were too high and they were ridiculous. So the men they wouldn't marry Saudi women. And the Saudi women couldn't find husbands because the men were marrying and paying lesser dowries to non-Gulf women, period. They weren't even marrying other Gulf women. They were going to Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Yemen, Iraq before the war hit. And what wound up being the case was that the women took to the streets. Now, mind you, that's illegal. But the ladies took to the streets and succeeded in getting men strapped. They could not go abroad and marry and bring their wives back into the country. The women never thought maybe we should drop down these dowries. Nope. And the dads of daughters never thought, well, if we let them marry for dowries that the sons can afford, then the daughters can find husbands. Nope. The dads didn't even think like that. The dads were like, my daughter's 28 and I can't find her a husband. Father Mucker, you should have started thinking about that when she was 22. And the government said, okay, all right, we'll stop the men. Now, when they're 30, they can do it. We'll give them license easily. But before that, they got to have an extenuating circumstance like a health problem that makes no Saudi woman want them. And that's what my students told me. And what wound up being the case, marriages did not necessarily go up amongst the young. The men couldn't marry, so they still didn't. And the women still are having hard times finding husbands. Because now the husbands say, well, then we have to wait till we're 30 to get married. And if we're going to wait till we're 30 to get married, we're going to go somewhere and we're going to marry a non-citizen still. There were men who did pay these dowries, exorbitant dowries, to get married. And they're miserable. They're in debt, and a lot of them are not able to get out of it. It's bad news around. I wish I had better news. But thank you, Mahdi Tijani, for the reminder. Chew the meat and spit out the bones, y'all. I'm not promoting things that are going to harm you in the long term. But I want you guys to understand too, that what you may think you want has its consequences. You got to remember, there are people, it's like any other movement. There are people that do not want this to progress because they got their own plans for something else to progress. And one of them is to successfully get this thing associated with alphabetic orientations most of us don't even have. And most people with these alphabetic orientations going to work and going home are not a part of that agenda. They don't even know about it. They're just going to follow it when it happens, not knowing that it was an agenda. Thanks for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Black Out. Assalamu alaikum. Black heterosexual non-select male power because they don't like it, and Black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day because they don't like it.